Hey guys, welcome to ThinkProperty Club's Unstoppable. Let's connect with one of our superstar students and see how their property journey has changed their lives and others while having fun making profits along the way. Hi everybody, welcome to Unstoppable. Today we have one of our students who we've known for a long time now, Laura, on board with us to talk about her journey in the property world, before, during and after, and what she's doing. So we're really excited to have you on today to share what you're doing with our community. So welcome, Laura. Tell us a little bit about yourself. When did you meet us and when did you join Think Property Club? I can't remember how many years ago now, but I don't think it was that long ago.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on, Amy. Always a pleasure to come on and speak again. You guys have done so much for us, so always so humbling to be here. I have been with Think Property Club now. It's almost 5 years it would be, because we started with PDF first. Yeah, it'd be about 5 years coming up that we started.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's flown.
It has. Well, because I remember when we first signed up with you guys, I was pregnant, just about to have my daughter, and then my second daughter.
Yep.
And the first event that I came with, she was only a couple of weeks old. So
I actually remember. I think I remember that one.
Yeah.
I remember Laura with a bub, and there was another mum with a bub at our, boot camp. And I'm all for mothers coming to learn about property because you can multitask, obviously.
Yes, absolutely you can.
And they're learning from you whilst you're in the rooms. It's fun memories back then. I remember, there was another mum. We took a photo in front there, and it was the first time you really kind of got into that property world and not really knowing what you.
Yeah, I think that first event really ignited in me what was potentially could happen for me and for my family, and just changing that mindset from going from a 9-to-5 job, then potentially having some wealth on the side that then I could just own my house, rather than now I'm just in a mindset where I don't need to be working in a 9-to-5 job. I can actually have this as a business, and we can create wealth that could, extend out to our children as well. And that's huge.
Well, Laura, what were you doing before when you were doing the 9-to-5?
So before, I was in a government role. I was in project administration. I had great flexibility with my role, and it was a really good role in terms of what I worked into to being in, but it wasn't satisfying because I also wanted to be a mum as well. So this really, as I said, ignited that I could actually start to shift and change to move into away from that 9-to-5 job.
Yeah. So basically the 9-to-5, you were, already had one bub and managing, motherhood with working full time. And then after work, you pretty much wouldn't have much time, right, to do anything else.
Never. And I lived in Sydney. So getting anywhere, traffic, public transport, it just takes forever to get home. So you're just getting home and you're pretty much making dinner and then, going to bed, and the day starts again.
What about spending time with the bub?
Well, I mean, I was only working at that time back 3 days a week when I first had my first baby. And that was when I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to have, part-time motherhood. I want to be a full-time mom.
Yeah, well, that's why you had the baby, right? So it's really quite important, because today I really want to talk to you from a woman's perspective too, that we are the ones getting pregnant, having kids, and in the modern life that we live in now, a lot of us work. A lot of us are not just at-home mums doing just that, which is already a hard enough job. We're also learning to make money to help the family to grow the wealth. So we'll touch on that throughout our conversation here as well. So getting back to it, you did the boot camp and then ignited some interest in you getting into property. What was it in the course that, or, dealing with Jason and I, that kind of thought, okay, well, I can do this, or, this is something I want to learn more about it? Was there any particular part? Was it property deals, the profit? Was it the strategy system? What was it?
The strategy was really great. I think that part really was of interest to me. I think, I'd always thought about the renovation, at that time, the block is such a huge thing in Australia, that we all we all get inspired to want to do that. But then really thinking about renovating, going out to potentially a regional property and doing that, it didn't seem like it was going to fit around my family and my lifestyle as much as I love doing all those things. But when I realized that throughout this process, because I really enjoy as well the designing part of it, it's so fun and I love to really get involved in it. And when you can do that with property development as well, you're really involved with it. And so I thought, well, this is probably going to be a better strategy for my family, and also working with others for other people's money and investors to be able to complete such a project, because I like working in a team environment. So that's why I really liked this strategy.
Yeah, great. And you've worked with us as well, one-on-one for a little while as well. I guess, what was the biggest things you learned from working with us? There's so many things in terms of the system, but was there any key takeaways that, you thought that's something I can replicate, because our strategies is about the students to do exactly what we're doing?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was that you really laid out a great foundation of stages. And then I was able to really build on that. And then by having that one-on-one with you and having the mindset coaches and yourself available, it made me build on those foundations to actually create something. So that's probably the biggest takeaway, is having good foundations than to create something. No pun intended. Obviously, we're creating. We always want a good foundation, but that was probably the biggest thing, was that stages really gave that foundation that was perfect.
Yep. We love the step-by-step, because, that's the easiest. Everybody thinks property investing or developing or getting to property is really hard for those who haven't really done it. And likewise, when we started many, many years ago, and now I look back and I'm like, you do the first little deal and you're like, that wasn't too hard. And then you do second, third, and so forth, and have that right team or, professionals around you to carry it forward, because you're not the one doing everything, right, in this game.
Yeah, that's right. And for us as well, what I really liked was having that chance to be able to really connect in with you guys and have someone who has done this before, because you don't normally get that in the industry as well. Kind of a hush-hush secret environment where you don't really know what's going on. And the boys club, absolutely. And so I'm seeing strong.
It could be a girls club.
Well,
we are creating.
Yeah, we're starting to change.
Yeah, definitely. We've got some nice ladies in the group. So I've got some amazing women in the ThinkProperty Club doing multiple deals on their own without anybody else, and using other people's money as well. So with what you're doing, I guess, you started doing this on your own, and then hubbies come into it with you. You're creating the business, you're creating deals. What parts do you like about it, and how are you able to multitask? And you just told me also, one of the biggest goals is spending time with your kids, right? So you've got 3 beautiful children now, and you just told me you're homeschooling them. So tell me how you're able to do property whilst homeschooling.
And this is a really big question that I get from everyone all the time. How do you do it? How can you manage everything? And, it's a process, it's a journey, and it doesn't just happen overnight. It's in the daily things that you do, and that you expand yourself slightly. So one thing that I learned that has really stuck with me, that I do on a regular basis, is that I'm constantly, say if it might be, I want to incorporate exercise into my routine, but I feel like I don't have time for that. I've got the kids, got to get them ready. I've got to washing, everything. We've got to get the business. So how do I make time for that? So what I do is I'll just start off small. I might just do, say, 10 minutes. It gets me in the mode to do it. Yep. And then I'll go, but in that 10 minutes, I'll do it for, say, like a couple of weeks. And then I'll set myself a goal to do 10% more. And when you start gradually incorporating that into anything that you're doing, you then start expanding yourself to be able to take it. So it might be that you might be calling, you might start off by doing target research, and that's all you can focus on right now. Just do one little bit, and then set your goal to then go. So if you're doing 5, set yourself a 10% increase in that in, say, 4 weeks, and then you'll gradually get there. So I think that's probably the basis of how I try and do everything. It's, there will be, times where I can't manage it. I just can't. And I go, you know what? I'm just going to be in flow right now. I'm going to trust the universe and go, you know what? I need to give more time to my family. And then there'll be times where I go, no, actually, I need to give more time to my business because there's urgent deadlines. And then I can go, okay, well, I'm going to continue to set those goals so I can expand and bring on more into my life.
I like that because, getting into forming a routine is creating those little habits, which we teach, 30 days, 60 days, repeating it, and you become confident in what you do. This is what we teach even our children, to our students, and then to obviously professionals doing it, to set up the business. So it's really great to see you doing that exercise. Amazing. You have time for that too.
I'm back into it.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. I think, doing the property investing and developing, allows you to have that flexibility because everybody also thinks that it's a full-time job. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to do like 60, 80 hours a week. And, that's not why we got into this. How many hours a week do you do roughly, do you think? Hang on. So let me get back into it. So how many deals have you currently got on the go? I remember last time we chat, you were doing 2 deals, when you first started, because your background, you didn't have the money to get into your own deal, correct? Tell us a little bit about, wanting to get into a deal and the process from.
Yeah, sure. So what we did is we worked with investors. So we didn't have capital or the serviceability to be able to go into a project ourselves. So we created our brand and put ourselves out there to a community and pitched basically for an investor to come on board with us on our journey. So we were successful in that. We started off with 2 projects, firstly one, and then about 4 months later, then we took on another one. The reason why I did that also was because I wanted to create this as a business rather than creating, wealth on the side or anything like that. I had a goal in terms of what I wanted. So it was really specific to me. Once I finished those projects, we then went on to do another 2 projects. So keeping it consistent with the first. And then because there was still so many learnings within that. Once we kind of got through probably about halfway through those projects, we ended up taking on, I've now got on the go, I've got 4 projects on the go. Typically, in our business now, we're taking on between 1 to 4 projects per year, depending on what they are. So this life cycle generally is around 18 to 24 months projects that I'm taking on, which is the multi-residential space. So at the moment, I've got 3 townhouse projects. So I've got 2 4-packs and a 5-pack. And then I also have a 67 unit development as well. So that takes up a big one. It's huge. It takes up a lot more time and energy and space for that. I'm actually working with some really great partners on that one as well, being it's our first in the industry going from, a medium scale townhouses to a large development. And that's going really well. I do not fear ever working with people because it's always about a team environment that you can go through.
Yeah, and it's obviously very different style going from, residential houses, townhouses to apartments on a different level. Are you finding that obviously not learning to do everything yourself now, outsourcing, collaborating, partnering with people who've done it as well? Is that the key for you?
Absolutely. So basically the first project, I took on everything. I took on every role. I thought that I had to be the master of every role. But I soon learned that it's so important to have a team. And the more projects I take on now, it's like my team grows bigger and bigger because I realize that you need more people to help. So, but it was good learnings the first time around because I really got to really understand. Even though a good takeaway today as well is even though you might expand, grow into different projects and your team, it's so important to still be very involved because you learn every project that you do. There's different challenges that arise. But for me, a challenge is never a negative. And I always say to people, a challenge is always the opportunity to learn more or to see something better for the project.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, challenge is part of everyday life. You do that outside in your personal life as well, right? In property, you're just going to work out how to solve problems every day. And that's the biggest thing Jason and I teach. It's like, well, how do we be solutions focused? What's solution A, B, C, and D? And how can we get our team to help us solve this? Because I'm not a master of all trades. And that's the beauty of doing property, because you're never going to know it all, but it's how do we find the right team? And, I think working with you, I remember one of the biggest things we taught you was, how do we get into deals with no money down? How do we find money investors? And I remember Jason mentoring you on building up your brand. This is what we get our students to do. So you're represented as a professional and get yourself out there on the social media. Tell us what you did. In the early days, you're like, oh, I don't want to get out there. Tell us what you did with your branding and videos and,
My mind is going back to a path that I'm not sure, but I need to always have to go back and see where I'm from. But it was daunting the first couple of times actually putting myself out there. And
students, how they would do it. If they're starting with no money, how do they go out and get money partners?
So the biggest thing for me was probably overcoming the mindset of, value. What value do I give to someone to come on board with us? And it's really that learning from Jason and yourself is that, this is a business. People do transactions business to business every day. I'm just a person within the business that is moving this vehicle of a property development forward. So I guess the first things was really creating that brand. And then with that brand, starting to put my face to that brand and just showing people what I'm doing and showing that I'm active, because then they could say, I'm feeling comfortable with this person. I think it's about 7, to research and have a look back, but I think it's about when someone sees a brand, anything in the supermarket that you want to buy, it takes them about 7 times before they commit to buying it, 7 times to seeing the actual visual of the product and what it's about before they can actually commit to purchasing it. I myself is a part of that brand, so they need to see me or something actioning with that brand to then feel comfortable going, okay, well, she's approachable. She's authentic. All right, I'm going to meet with her. She seems like she knows what she's doing. So just constantly putting out posts about what I'm doing, what I'm seeing. Even though I didn't have a project, I was out there researching, going to other sites and reviewing what they're doing as proven track record. That showed that I was active in the market and that I was doing things.
Yeah, look, it is about putting yourself out there. And a lot of people go, well, I haven't done anything in the past. It's like, hey, we all start somewhere at the beginning in any career, but perception is reality. Because if you appear confident and positive in what you're doing, people are going to see that passion and that genuine authenticity, which is how we got started, how we teach our students to get started. Because if you've got the system, you've got the knowledge, you know how to put it together, you're the deal maker. And that's what the ThinkProperty Club is about, creating deal makers. And to see Laura in action, I'm always so proud of you and where you're at, you and your family. And it's really only the beginning. Even though you've been in it for 5 years, all that learning is just taking you further and further. Obviously, you've got a couple of deals going, small and big ones. What sort of financial wealth is it going to bring you? Are you going to be getting into your own home, or what are you going to do?
For us, so the first couple of projects, we were actually able to purchase a new car that we've got coming, and we've got a caravan that's, on order in a year's time. And that was huge for us, because that was a goal for us for about 4 years, to be able to eventually purchase a tow vehicle and also a caravan, so we can go traveling with our family and spend more time. As I said, like, the fundamental of doing all this is really to gain more time back with my family, because that is such an important part of all this for me. And so I'm able to do that, which is fantastic. And then, once we feel we figured out where we want to be in terms of location wise,
yes,
we're able to buy our own home, and we're able to buy a house that we really didn't think that we would be able to. 5 years ago on this journey, we didn't think that we would get to that level at such a younger age. And so having that opportunity to eventually buy a beautiful piece of land and build our own home. And who knows, there's always so many, once you're getting into this and you're in this space of positive thinkers, people who are thinking more than what is in their day to day. And so more abundance comes, more opportunity comes. And it's not just about the dollar values, but it gives you more opportunity. And
yeah, it's beautiful. And it is how we live our day to day. You're surrounded, like you said, in creating, visualizing, dreaming. And that's really what I want our community of students to think out there. It is possible. It isn't hard. It isn't full time. Women can do it easily and are very good at it, and juggling with the kids and life stuff. And you can see Laura doing it beautifully. I'm doing it constantly. And I believe that the dreams are just endless. Like you said, creating your own home, that's just around the corner for you. And how old are you, Laura?
I just turned, I'm one to tell my age because I think it's so important. I'm 31 and I've been on this journey really full time for the past 4 years now. And
beautiful.
And where I've gotten to is amazing.
I think, for you and your family, it's only the beginning. Like I said, for a lot of people, it doesn't matter what age you get started, whether you're 16 to you're 80, it's never too late. Any advice that you want to give out to anyone who's listening to this, who thinks it's impossible, and how can we be doing what they're doing?
It's never impossible. What I always say in kind of my own mantra that I've created is that every day is a new opportunity. So no matter what happens yesterday, if something bad happened or you couldn't do something, don't carry that into the next day. That next day is a new opportunity that you can create whatever you want. And that is really true. You can create anything that you want. You can change your mindset. You can change what you create in that day.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Laura. It was amazing to have you on Unstoppable. And a lot of people are going to be listening to this going, hey, maybe I can do this too. Because if you can break out of the day-to-day, the 9 to 5, and create financial freedom for yourself, you're not only benefiting you, your family, but the inner circle around you. And that's what we're all about here. So get ready, guys. Get into it. Thank you so much, Laura. Really appreciate that. Sending you so much love and support always.
Thank you so much.
I know you're going to do more amazing things and lighten everyone around you. So thank you. We'll chat to you again very soon. We'll get an update. See you guys.
Bye.